Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts on some unfortunate news. It has been announced. I'll put the article in the description for you guys from George R. Martin that A Song of Ice and Fire Book 6, The Winds of Winter, has missed its deadline. It's still going to be a few months before it gets released. And that the Game of Thrones television series on HBO is in fact going to be released before the actual source material for the story. So I'll put the link in the description for you guys. You guys can go ahead and check it out. This one's from the Wall Street Journal. There's a lot of different write-ups on it, different articles you can look at with regards to some releases from George R. R. Martin and what's going on. So the book was supposed to be done by the end of 2015, but it's been pushed back already. I think a couple times. It's been kind of one of those that's been a long time coming, and unfortunately, it's not going to be ready even yet. It looks like George R. R. Martin just is having some trouble kind of finishing it. I guess even the best writers of the world get writer's block sometimes, I suppose. But it's got to be tough. He's 67, right, and he's got a lot of pressure because A Song of Ice and Fire, of course, years ago before the Game of Thrones television series started to air on HBO. I mean, it had a following. It was a really popular series of books. But once HBO got a hold of Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire and created Game of Thrones, you just have this huge, cult following of the series, and people just dying to know what happens next after they watch the series and they go and they read the books. Now the series is going to actually pass the books in terms of time frame, and it's going to have to go its own direction because, it's not going to stop there. It's going to go on from there. Season 6 is going to hit of Game of Thrones this spring, and then next year Season 7, and then probably Season 8, and then that might be it. We may be at the end of the series. I hope it'll go on as long as possible. We'll have to see how many seasons HBO is going to be able to get out of A Song of Ice and Fire. Because we have already used up basically all of the material. It's pretty much right up to point now where Season 6 is going to be going into the Winds of Winter storyline. And they're going to have to make up their own. They're going to have to write their own way because it's not. They don't have the source material to base it on. Now, from what I've read in articles and that, the creators of the show have actually spent some time with George R. R. Martin and have an idea of where he wants to go with it. But it looks like one way or another, he's not going to be done, and he's not going to be done the next one after that, right? Because the Winds of Winter is not the final book, right? So. So he's going to have that. Plus, he's rewriting, and he talks about kind of having to go over and polishing and that. I mean, obviously, to create a storyline like Game of Thrones, it's not a one-and-done type deal, or A Song of Ice and Fire, it's not a one-and-done type of deal. His books are incredibly complex. You have so many different characters and storylines crossing over in different locations, and everybody's got a backstory, and every family's got a tree, and oh my goodness, so it's like it becomes recursive. As he gets into this one part, it starts to kind of unravel, and he has to create this whole thing, and it's like creating this creating a masterpiece. It's like art. You can't rush a great artist. You got to give them their time. And even though you want to set deadlines and stuff, obviously he doesn't want to, mess up his series, which has been his claim to fame. He's had lots of other works as well too, but none of them even close to A Song of Ice and Fire and where that's been. So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, I think personally it's a good thing, and that's because of course, Walking Dead has always been a series where the TV series has gone from the beginning and said, we're not going to be the same as the comic book series. We'll go close to the same, path. We'll go close to the same guidelines. But, it's not going to be the same. We're just going to make it its own thing. If you want to read the comics, go read the comics. If you want to watch the TV show, watch the TV show. They're going to be different. Game of Thrones, it started out, it tried to be the same, and then as they were going through, it just can't be. The books, there's so many characters and so many different things happening, and it's a lot more dense than the TV series version, which is a lot more streamlined to fit the episodes and fit the seasons with your climaxes at your, your finales, and then, your big premieres and then down. So they have to kind of focus more on certain characters and give the kind of the ups and downs of the big episodes in Game of Thrones. So it doesn't really fit with exactly the 10 episode kind of schedule with exactly how George R. R. Martin wrote it, when you have so many different more characters that have been, a lot of them have been axed out of the TV series, so it's going to be its own version. So I'm actually happy. I think this is a good thing because I'm going to enjoy watching Game of Thrones all the way through to the finish, reviewing it with you guys, talking about it with you guys in that version. And then also, when the books do get released, I'm going to buy, Winds of Winter. I'm going to go through that and experience a different version of the story, A Song of Ice and Fire. Even the names are different, and you can enjoy each one independently, even though it is a shame that it's not going to be released yet. But I'd rather he take his time, he do it the way he wants to do it. That way we don't get some kind of mistakes or any kind of weird thing if he's trying to rush it out or something. And a characteristic of him, he goes for quality over just rushing that thing out and getting it out to people as fast as possible without it being perfected first. Wow. Yeah. So check out the article if you guys want to. Let me know what you think about that. The Game of Thrones TV series going its own direction, of course, because it has to. A Song of Ice and Fire not being able to keep up video faster than the written version in this case. Well, one man show versus the Game of Thrones crew, where they have different crews filming, 3 different crews in the different places on the planet at the same time, and all the people involved versus one man. Yeah, you can see how he wouldn't be able to keep up with that one way or another. Sooner or later, it's not going to work. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Write your comments below on what you think of the series, how long you think it's going to last, and how you think the TV series is going to go, if it's going to get worse because it doesn't have the source material to pull from. I think it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. Anyway, write your comments below. If you guys like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to sub, you can go ahead and sub at the bottom left. That's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again real soon. Send me any Game of Thrones suggestions you guys have. Send them to me. I love to talk about Game of Thrones. So this is Trev, saying peace.